Hello, my name is Jessica Ewens. I am currently working to earn my certificate in Licensed Chemical Dependency Counselor (LCDC) at San Jacinto College. I will receive my certificate in May of next year, 2022. And while I am in the field, working in the field, I will continue taking additional classes to prepare for my licensure. Well, some people have asked me why I have chosen this field, and I would like to share that with you. I have some reasons that I would like to share with you. One of my first motivations to be a counselor is my passion for psychology, the desire to understand the human mind and behavior. The way the human mind works is just fascinating to me. I like to analyze situations and the way people think and behave. Family and close friends have come to me to advise or just just they want me to lend an ear, listen to their problems, uh, because I don't judge, and I think they like that about me. I'm not a judgmental person, and that's one of the qualities that as a counselor, is required as a counselor. I also consider myself a very empathetic, compassionate, good listener, an insightful person, and that's one of the reasons friends and family comes to me because I'm very insightful. I've been told that as well. I also like to help people find solutions for their situations or their problems. The other reason I have chosen to be a counselor is more from my personal experience. I've never done drugs or alcohol in my life. However, I grew up in an environment of alcoholism and drug addiction within my family and my neighbors. My neighborhood, I mean. I was born in Peru, and in Peru, heavy drinking is a cultural behavior. Um, and people drink a lot, some more than others, but it is a heavy drinking lifestyle in Peru. I I remember when I was 5 or 6 years old, I was a little girl. Two men who were our neighbors, one of them, they broke into our home at night. Um, when was this happening? One of my brothers um, asked me to hide under the bed and stay there and not to come out. Whatever I hear, not to come out, to stay in there, and that's what I did. I could hear everything. I could hear the fights, the fear. I was very afraid. This man came with looking for my older brother. He wasn't home. He went somewhere else because he was in trouble. So they came with knives and wanted to stab my other brothers, my other siblings, and my mother was trying to defend, her children, and they wanted to stab my mother. I could hear the fear of my mother, the screaming. Um, Fortunately, another neighbor came and where he was able to uh, take these people out of our house. Uh, and that it was a very traumatic experience for me. These men that broke into our house were drug addicts, alcoholics, criminals. They were in prison all the time. So I still, as an adult, I still have dreams about that night. Um, so it's a very traumatic experience for a little girl, a 5, 6 year old little girl. So drinking in Peru, like I said, is a cultural behavior. Um, Also, I remember how the pressure, um, I remember seeing my mother pressuring other people to drink. My mother, my sister would pressure the people to drink in a party, and they would get offended if with people who didn't want to drink, or even and to reject a drink, it was really frowned upon. And I'm not sure if it still is, but it was back then. I'm not sure it's still probably some that way. I don't think it has changed much. Um, so so the cultural pressure and the desire to fit in was usually the start of a heavy drinking and alcoholism. My mother drank usually every weekend. Um, she would gather with the neighbors on a Friday afternoon and drink non-stop until Sunday. Sometimes she would drink on a weekday and sleep for a little bit. Maybe usually was she'll start, let's say, that 4 p.m. and she will continue drinking until 24 hours nonstop, and then go to bed at 6 a.m. the next day, sleep a little bit and get up and continue drinking again. Um, I hated to see my mother when she did that, and there's nothing I could do. There was nothing I could say. Um, it was horrible. It is a horrible situation. It's a horrible thing to witness for a little girl. When you grow up in that kind of environment, you think it is normal. That is a normal way to live. Oh, everybody drinks. However, as a little girl, I could feel that something was not right, that was not right. I couldn't understand the whole thing, but I could feel that was not right. Um, I witnessed horrible fights among my family and my neighbors each time they got drunk. And and you think, is this is the life that awaits for me as an adult? Um, is is this what is what my future is going to be? Um, am I gonna marry a drunk who's gonna beat me? I will have to chase him all the time. He's gonna drink every weekend. Um, that's what you think. That's at least that's what I thought as a little girl. My mother would, when she drank, she would usually start in a happy mode with a few drinks. Then later she would change her mood and listen to sad songs and start crying and crying, and finally ending up picking up fights, usually with my older siblings or neighbors. Also, I saw my siblings drinking a lot and using drugs, especially my sister. Um, I also remember how my brothers would steal from my mother so they can go and buy drugs. Um, my mother would have to hide everything so they wouldn't steal from us. My sister also followed my mother's step with heavy drinking. And later she started using prescription medication and got hooked on opiates. Uh, she would use anything she could put her hands on: sleeping pills, Benadryl, Xanax, and her favorite was Tramadol, the powerful painkiller. Um, it was not easy to get it here in the United States, but every time she flew to Peru, you just walk into any pharmacy in South America, actually, I don't know, any other parts, if in Europe it's the same, but in South America, you just walk up to a pharmacy, ask for any medication, and they just give it to you. No prescription is needed. So that's how she would go and get all her supply. So she was constantly high and tried to hide it from us, from the rest of the family. And when she was confronted, she would deny it and get defensive. It wasn't until she went into a crisis and was admitted to a psychiatric hospital here in Houston. She lives in New Jersey. She came to visit me one summer, and I could see her withdrawal symptoms very bad. And I had to hospitalize her, and after that, she was admitted to a psychiatric hospital. She was diagnosed with major depression, withdrawal symptoms, and PSTD and severe anxiety. Navigating through this difficult process was a real challenge for me because I didn't understand anything about drug abuse, mental illness, and how to help a person in that kind of situation. I did the best I could to help my sister, and it was not a fun thing. You know, people who use drugs and or alcoholic or drug addicts, they're not the only ones who are suffering. They're not the only ones who are destroying their lives, but also the people who are around them, their family members, friends, loved ones. So everybody gets affected by addiction. Like I said, I understand anything about drug abuse, mental illness, or how to help a person in this situation. After her hospitalization, she was admitted to an intervention program that pretty much covered what I have learned in this class, in this substance abuse courses. That has really helped me to understand a lot of what I went through during my childhood years. What has happened to my mother, to my family, especially to my sister. After her hospitalization, she was stabilized and got her drug and alcohol abuse and in control. It was very good for her, that intervention program. I want to be in this field because I want to help people who were in the same situation as my mother, my sister, and me as a little girl. I believe that emotional pain and trauma are huge contributing factors to alcoholism and drug abuse. I saw it in my mother, my sister, and other people. I think counseling could be exhausting but at the same time, it's a very rewarding career. This career gives you the opportunity for personal growth, and to constantly learn new things. Each client, each situation always teaches something new. As a counselor, we become more understanding, more compassionate, and more in touch with our inner selves and with society. Thank you.